Ankur, you've got 450 million page views on Pricebaba purely on SEO. How did you do it?
Yes, Aditya, we did well over 450 million page views in the 5 or 6 years that I was running Pricebaba. At peak, we were doing 6 million users per month. At that point, I sold the venture, and happy to tell you our entire SEO playbook. We did no advertising. All of this was organic, largely dependent on SEO. So happy to dive into it.
Okay, so let's go back all the way to the start point. What made Pricebaba unique, or how did you figure out where you can really start building SEO?
So what Pricebaba did is it helped you research mobile phones and other gadgets online. And that is not a new business. We started in 2012. And at that point, GSM Arena was already there. We were competing with Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, the local players, big players in India for traffic. And then there were manufacturers' own websites, other price comparison websites, other product research platforms. And hey, a Samsung mobile phone and iPhone, the product specifications remain the same in India and abroad. So we were competing with all the international players also. So it is a tough niche to crack, but it's also a very big niche, which means the long tails are also big. Pricebaba started with a view that we will help our users find the best local prices. That narrowed down our fight to such specific hyperlocal keywords and hyperlocal demand that a lot of big players just could not compete on those keywords. So if I have to tell you that you are on Castro Street and you want to buy a Samsung Galaxy Y, where will you buy it and how much will you buy it for? If you are in Delhi sector XYZ and you want to buy an iPhone, where can you get it and at what price? We started by collecting that data and publishing it on Pricebaba. So the initial uniqueness, the viral nature or the brag-worthy nature of the platform came from very hard to get content. And then, of course, if I am showing you prices of iPhone, I'm showing you its specification and all the other details around it, which made us a destination for research as well. But we found a pin or a wedge. We found a very narrow opening where we could totally dominate, and we did dominate. There were times where for a local keyword, we will have 6 or 7 entries on the Google page on our single domain, which is unheard of in SEO, but we managed to do that because nobody else was creating such good hyperlocal content.
Interesting. And this is at a time where e-commerce was booming and a lot of product research had moved online.
It was about to move online. This is pre-geo era. So mobile data was also limited. And yes, the trend was moving towards online slowly. And when we figured that now online prices are also becoming important, we started showing offline and online prices together. But the platform kept evolving. And at some point, once the platform had enough domain authority, once we had enough of momentum behind us, we could do newer and more difficult things and compete head on with a lot of mainstream keywords as well. And that's kept on happening.
Got it. So when it comes to the uniqueness that you said about bringing offline prices online, how much of it is going to contribute to the search traffic that was coming in to Pricebaba?
So it's easier to win a long tail keyword because there will be less competition, so long as you have basic domain authority in place and you are actually serving good content for that, you will rank. This is true on Google, this is true on YouTube. What helped us in addition to doing this is we were a startup empowering local retailers, helping them compete online. We raised some amount of funding. We did a lot of press and PR around it. And people were happy to talk about our story because we are doing something so unique. So it was easy to go to market and talk to people about it, talk to the press about it, and get some amount of attention early, which helps SEO. SEO is not just about making a web page, doing technical SEO on it, and then try to build backlinks on it. You also need a perception, a branding. All of that contributes to making all your other jobs easy. And so a good popular company will automatically have good domain authority because people will be talking about it. And that basic was taken care of. We never saw it as a website. We saw it as a platform. We saw it as a mission to empower local retailers. And that benefit was there. So having a mission and unique content and a narrow scope to begin with, I think helps a platform. And I think that playbook could be applied today as well. And I do that all the time on YouTube with our creators.
Got it. So that was going to be my next question,
Yeah.
is that when you are hyper focused on a particular niche, a
Yeah.
lot of publishers tend to be scared, thinking that they're narrowing their audience down significantly.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to these publishers, especially you're focusing on hyper niche?
Right. So if I am narrow in a niche, I can go up from there. I can then make something broader for the same audience.
Got it.
For example, we are using this Lark mic over here.
Yeah.
If I start with how to record good audio on a specific software and go very specific into troubleshooting something for you, I can then come up and make content around which mic to buy, what are budget mics available. Then I can review specific mics. I can keep going broader.
Yeah.
But I start with something very niche, very specific, which brings you in my circle of what you say existence. And then I will stack higher competition keywords on top of it. For example, I told you find Samsung Galaxy Y in Andheri or sector XYZ of Noida, Gurgaon, wherever. Now, if I have to then say what are the other kind of keywords then we started to rank for. So if I go to Google, one of the keywords we started to rank very well for budget phones in India or low cost phones in India. So today we are probably not in the top page for this. For many years we were in the top 2 results for this. So let me also do low cost phones in India. See, for low cost phones in India, we are still, I think, 3rd or 4th over here on Google. This page is well over 10 years old. And we figured that budget mobile phones or budget smartphones in India as a keyword or low cost phones in India was not being targeted enough. So after going hyper specific, we started to go a little generic, started to create content like this. And then we kept going up the, the competition ladder and started competing on more difficult keywords.
Got it. So interesting, like you're talking about having competition from e-commerce, having competition from other price comparison websites that were there, and also international competition like GSM Arena. What content strategy did you go for that helped you stand out from this competition?
I think we first picked up price. Price is always a local phenomena. Then I think we picked up keyword which will always have India. First we had keywords which had a locality next to it, then city next to it, then India next to it. So this page which we are looking at is low cost phones in India. And that sort of at least takes away the international competition, brings us to local. And then I think there's also an angle of product competitiveness. There is of course some value which has to be delivered to the user, and that value is delivered via the product. And how does the product differentiate itself? So for one example, over time we realized that we had 5 million, 3 million, 6 million, crazy number of people coming on the website every month. But how do they know that they are not alone? How do they know there are so many people around here? So we, you see this recent view count over here. We started showing that. We started doing something called We Love. Phones that we love started getting a tag from our editors. Our editor names started to show within the product name and what the editor is saying with their photo, and you were part of the team. You saw your photo was there on product pages. So we started to make it more personal for people. At the bottom of the site, and we ran a campaign on the site that we did this whole campaign of 100 million smiles. So when we crossed 100 million users, we made sure that we tell our visitors that, hey, we have had 100 million people and we have had this kind of press coverage. So we started taking all of that perception, the brand part of it also seriously. But in the initial days, very good, unique content, scale up from there. On the content strategy, again, we'll go from a backlinks angle and getting virality. We'll talk about it later on. But the product, the features, how does one come in and research the product? That information is also useful. So we started embedding video reviews. We started putting in audio reviews, because people who are on mobile data and do not have enough data, they don't want to read the page, but they can't watch a video there. They will listen to audio, which was really something unique at that point. And we saw our engagement numbers go up as a result. So there was a lot of small product innovations, which increased the time on site, which gave people more value. I think Google works on a simple principle. That someone searched for something on Google, came to your website, never went back to Google to search the same thing again, which means you solved their problem, you solved that query. And that gives you marks for it. Google is someone who gets interrupted by people all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, please tell me this, please tell me
Yeah.
this. And then Google says, go, please talk to that person.
Yeah.
Right? And then if you don't come back and trouble Google again, Google thinks
knows.
that person is good.
For the
I'll send
solution.
people to that person.
The thing would be, so someone who's at the start of the journey, you would want to inform them as much as possible about the particular phone. So you would do highlight them with specs, highlight them with comparison, do features about what is good, reviews on the page itself, which would be, this is good about this phone. And when they're towards the end of the journey, you would primarily give them with buy from Amazon, buy from local retailer, like that. So what you're doing is with the same keyword, you're targeting two different kinds of audiences. So for publishers also, the unique thing would be if you can identify stuff like that. So for example, for someone who's searching a recipe for a food, they would want to know what is the ingredients. At the end of the day, they would also want to know what the response is, like what kind of flavor profile it would target. Waise wala. So if you pick a keyword that appeals to a wider set of audience, the same effort is going to be rewarded in a wider sense.
So here's one thing we did. The product by itself, a Nokia product. So we are looking at Nokia 6 over here, which is an old phone. It's pretty easy to study the user interactions on this page and know what they want. A lot of people go and click the photo, and we did heat maps and we did screen recording of users to see what they are clicking, what they are liking. So photos was a focus. We know that a snapshot of specs helped them, and then they wanted detailed specs. A lot of people are searching for launch date. So the launch date is always put up here in the spec sheet. So the broader targeting of search from a product angle was done. And of course, the easy to read reviews, a lot of user reviews put in, and not always collated from Amazon. It was actual user reviews. And then our editors, you will see writing content around it. All of that was done. But this would just focus on product from a broad keyword point of view. What we would do around this is also something called create lists, which gives us more creativity. For example, in a category like laptops and washing machines and refrigerators, we really dominated as Pricebaba when we entered those categories, because our research engine was very good, and we could create lists and pages which were very hyper targeted. For example, show me laptops with SSD and 8 GB RAM. A very specific query at that point. So
and long tail as well.
So laptops with 8 GB RAM with graphic card, and you see this auto suggest over here. Not a lot of people had the data in the right format to do this and to create these pages. Now, of course, we used to rank for it 5, 6, 7 years back. Today, probably these pages don't rank for us. Maybe something else ranks. But point being that there was a long tail that we targeted even by creating lists. So the fundamental was good. There was a huge product play over here. On-page SEO was great. And from there, we could derive other content forms, and you have to get creative there to scale the content strategy and use the same mehnat, if I can use a Hindi word, or the same effort of collating all the pages and creating lists to bring people on that page. So on the technical SEO front, I think technical SEO is really important. This URL structure of pricebaba.com/mobile/Nokia 6. This structure hasn't changed since 2011, end of 2011 or 12, when the website first went live. So if a URL is created, that URL will never change. There have never been any redirects. There have never been any changes on the URL. The structure has been same. Google does not have to spend extra energy indexing my website. We are conservative as to how many pages we index on Google. My competitors would index lakhs of pages. I would go and I will index only 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 pages. And that too, each page should have enough weight, enough value. Otherwise, we'll not create a page. So we did not do a lot of auto creation of pages. So all of these pages that I'm referring to, like the low cost phones, which we saw, that page will be created manually after an editor reviews it and says, okay, this page has value in it. We'll not just auto create it all the time, so that we don't bloat our, see the domain authority. I see domain authority as a limited juice which is given to your domain. Now you decide if you want to spread it to 100,000 pages or 100 pages or 10,000 pages.
Got it.
That there is associative property of trust that comes to each page as a result of what your domain is worth. But if you just start spreading your trust too much, then Google will not think of you as trustworthy. It's something like that. That's the SEO philosophy behind it. So technical SEO was extremely important. Every page on the website will be 3 clicks from the homepage.
Okay. So this was a conscious call to keep it that way.
Yeah. So point being, there should never be an orphan page. That there is a page which has been created, and there is no logical way for the user to reach that page.
Got it.
We are creating a product. Even if a product is discontinued or a mobile phone is discontinued, it is still a mobile phone which people may want to go and find, and our directory listing should allow people to find it. There should be a way to navigate to a page. Otherwise, you are creating pages only for Google, and Google becomes a customer. No, I'm not creating the page for Google. I'm not creating my website for Google. I'm not making a platform for Google. I'm making it for users. I'm making it friendly for Google to come and index it. That's the mindset. So the user first mindset helped us in a lot of places.
Absolutely. So, you've touched upon a couple of pointers. So the three questions that have come up, I'm going to take the first one that was there in my mind was when you were displaying this Nokia 6 page, you spoke about launch date, you spoke about the processor and other stuff. Now, the point that came to my mind was structured data. Like a lot of this would be structured data and schema. A lot of people tend to do it just to optimize it for Google search. What did you do differently?
So at the end of some of our pages, yes, you will see this Nokia 6 price in India. We'll keep put in this tabular format. We'll write this link to get into this text would be written to get into the knowledge card with the latest date automatically updated. So we did do some of it. In addition to that, at times it did feel like we are chasing too many SEO signals, and we did once in a while recalibration. We had a traffic drop once where we went from 5 million traffic to 3 million, and then we grew back to 6 million. So the platform went through that journey, and that whole product mindset needs to come in. So when we really saw a traffic drop, we had stopped our local listings and the local side of business. So we were purely a product research engine. So we really had to compete as a product research engine. So we went into difficult categories which others were not doing. And during that time to recover, we said, okay, let us focus back on what is good content for the user. Let's put the user first again. Maybe we are doing too many SEO-centric things, and that feedback was valuable. So we started to sort of align again that let us have more editor-created content, more high-quality content in there. We started doing features like we will embed audio clips inside the platform. And we saw that a lot of people are listening to audio, and then we started putting the audio in Hindi and English, both languages. We saw people are mostly listening to Hindi. So there was product innovation happening, and that keeps the platform going. There is some value to keeping your platform similar. A returning user coming to your platform should know exactly where do I click to get to specs. Okay, I click here, I get to specs. But new things have to be stacked a little carefully so that you don't overwhelm the user. I think a lot of our competitors were always much more cluttered.
Okay. Optimizing too frequently.
Yeah, and making too many changes and just throwing too many things in there. So we wanted to sort of strike the right balance there. And again, every platform. So I may appreciate something about iPhone. I also appreciate something about Android. I appreciate something about Facebook. I appreciate something about Instagram and something about another platform. So there will always be users who will like your way of thinking and your way of presenting data. There will be users who will not like it. So you have to stay true to your cohort. And so that's why once your platform and goes the same for a publication has a momentum, a certain way of doing things, you keep stacking in front of that.
Got it. Because this answer beautifully segues into my next question on engagement. Because you've spoken about how a page is going to be 3 clicks away from the home page, and how there's familiarity built in so that someone who's even on the website for the first time, it becomes easier. So what amount of weightage do you give to engagement, say on a particular page, and user experience, and what all tools have you used in the past, or something that you would recommend for our publishers watching?
So first up with engagement, I think time on site, bounce rate, how many pages did a person view, all of that was important. How many people scrolled beyond the first fold was important. Second, I think so we figured that people who are more engaged with specific sections of the page are more likely to convert and go and buy. So people who are watching a video are 3 times more likely to go and click an affiliate link that we have put up there. So that also was something we could do. So we used CleverTap extensively for seeing what is the on-page funnel like and what is the on-page behavior of the users with events. We did a lot of Hotjar recordings, and we used a few other tools as well for heat maps. We did that. But I think some of the best insights came from just observing and listening to users. For example, if I look for this article on UX, right? So once you would remember, and you were part of this experiment, I think, where we sent all 30 people in the company on the streets
Yeah.
and said, divide yourself in groups of 2. So there are 15 teams made, and go and ask users to do a specific thing on Pricebaba. Just open the website, give it to them, ask them to do something, find this product, look for that, and just
Yeah.
observe what they are doing. And Rohan wrote a great article on it, and we made a few product changes based on that, right?
Mhm.
So latest in stock and such filters were added as a result of that. For people to know that, hey, this image can be zoomed and you can click on this image to zoom it in. Just add a button over here to indicate that. That created a difference, and a lot of people started clicking that
Clicking on
button.
it.
So that insight was there. And then filters is a beautiful thing, right? If I am saying that, show me phones with 3 GB RAM, I don't mind if a 4 GB RAM phone shows up in my budget. So when I say 3 GB RAM, I mean minimum 3 GB RAM.
Yep.
Realizing those insights, so that was incorporated over here. So there are a lot of things. There are a lot of small things which were done on this angle. But yeah, user engagement was important. I think we did track it. At some point, you start to see that, hey, yes, we have a product that is serving certain need. Now let us just pour more domain authority on top of it as well.
Yeah.
And then that's where we also had a lot of work which we did to have some viral content, newsworthy content, break a news, get backlinks. A
Yeah.
lot of effort also went into that, which was more external effort. So far we've been talking about a lot of internal effort.
Yeah. So I think naturally the next question would have been,
Yeah.
How did you go about improving your domain authority?
Yeah.
Improving positioning, say for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
showcasing that you guys are the authority
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
So what was it that you guys did, and what would you advise the publishers currently to do?
Right. So we did a lot of different things. Since we were solving a mission to bring local retailers online, there were a lot of press releases and people writing about us in the media, and you will see some of those articles. This, for example, we shared how our product thinking and what changes we made to the product, and published it on a startup blog. And they were generous to let us sort of write over here. That gets branding for Pricebaba. That gets branding for our author over here, who successfully made into an international product manager, now working in Canada. And there is a backlink that we got here, which I also value. So we were very much out there talking about things. If there is a new mobile phone being launched, we used to scrape through India import, customs data, and look at import data of what mobile phones are being imported, and then we would break the news that this mobile phone is going to launch very soon because we have seen it being imported into India. And there was so much cat and mouse game out there to break a news, to go and talk to the media, talk about us, see if they would write about us. Writing guest posts was a good thing, as a big thing, but they were not shallow guest posts. They were like really deep guest posts like this. So I would say the company was tuned around SEO in terms of the tech team. Our internal tech team ran the website, and they knew SEO is non-negotiable. Everything is thought from SEO first lens. And I see a lot of companies saying, okay, the tech team says, let's outsource the main website to someone. We'll work on the core product. I think SEO is integral. You can't outsource it. On the backlink front, everyone in the company always had their spidey sense going that, okay, where is a backlink opportunity seen? Let's just go and get it. It is valuable. It is something for which people pay money. And thankfully, we never paid money for getting backlinks. All of this was organic. But then there was hustle involved. We have to go and build relationships, do something unique, put ourselves out there. There was, of course, the famous Android Kaju Katli campaign and the Android Laddu campaign. Right. So we said the next version of Android should be Laddu, and did this whole campaign. And then Google responded with its own video acknowledging Laddu. It was a beautiful campaign. We were campaigning outside their Mountain View campus, and it got us a lot of exposure, I would say. It was useful exposure. It was something that is hard to recreate. It's in a way something which went viral. Sundar Pichai was asked this in an interview that will it be Laddu? And right, I should if I make my resume, I'll probably write it on my resume that I made Google respond to my campaign request for a name, or but it was great SEO. All of this was great SEO and buzz around Pricebaba.
So this is interesting. You've just spoken about how you've been at 5 million in traffic, gone
Yeah.
down to 3 because of
Yeah.
Google algorithm changes. There are multiple things that's happening as well. So before I go on to my main question on being dependent on Google, what I see a lot of publishers in the current time doing is they're making a change and they're expecting results very, very quickly. I know you've done it for multiple years. So what would your advice be?
So here's the thing. Think of how Google has evolved. Google is someone who has a lot of power, a lot of money to give away. Google can get you attention from users, which is basically like giving you money. Now Google has been gamed and spammed and cheated so much that Google is suspicious of all of you. Google is suspicious of you. So now when you go and change a title or something on your website, Google's first instinct is this person trying to cheat me? Is this spam? So whenever we change the meta title or a structure of a key page or a series of pages on Pricebaba, our traffic will drop by 10%. Okay. And we'll lose our shit. Oh God, this was a mistake. Revert. Or go to another change. Let's change it again. Either revert or change. Our traffic will again drop 10%. Okay. So basically, there is a test which probably Google used to do back then, that I'll drop your traffic a little to see if you have conviction in what you are doing. And then it will slowly grow back in 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. But if you change it again, you are a confirmed spammer. You are only doing it for me, not your users. I will drop your traffic again. Let the users come and vote slowly and I'll bring you up. So you earn trust and you spend trust with Google. It's a difficult relationship.
Okay. So, based on this recent answer, I also say that a lot of dependency from publishers is on Google. Like Google, for the longest time, I think is probably the number one contributor to a lot of traffic. And I personally look at it as it's good
concentration
to do it,
risk.
But there is
classic concentration risk.
What advice would you give publishers, or what steps have you taken in the past to reduce your reliance or dependency on Google for your traffic?
So, hey, I think we tried to do newsletters to get some direct contacts going, but newsletters is an expensive way of getting traffic for a media company. It could work for SaaS. So, of course, some amount of newsletters, some amount of social. YouTube is a very good place to diversify, and I think today I'm more bullish on YouTube than I was back then. Push notifications was very important. At some point, a lot of our traffic came from push notifications. You know, when I say I took Pricebaba to 6 million users a month, it's a lie. It was 5.99 million on the last day, and the next day the company was sold to someone. And I tried so hard to just get those 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 users extra to hit 6 million. I couldn't. And push notifications, and I sent 3 push notifications that day that, okay, let me get that extra bit of traffic coming in. But push notifications became really important, and I think push notifications lets you to have a direct relationship with your audience. But yeah, it is a concentration risk. So you have to take some amount of volatility in. We did some amount of B2B deals by selling some of our data to other companies in an API format to build, to monetize the platform and data in other ways. Syndication is something which I see a lot of people now doing, that let's syndicate our content with other e-commerce portals. Let's create content for other people. So publishers could do a lot of things. And I think having a services model on top of your publication is not a bad idea. It brings robustness to the system.
Absolutely. So I think that's all the questions I had for Ankur. If you guys have more questions, put them down in the comments and I'll get him back for another video.
Awesome.